Ben Affleck for that story?
There was a whole elaborate plan, which would take up too much time now, and some of which I may have forgotten. But I always liked that character and talked to Zach about that, and I think there's my plan for continuing on in this character. At a certain point, I got to and kind of found that I thought I wasn't really, I just felt like, well, I wasn't quite sure if it worked or jived. I felt like if you have a character like this and you kind of take that on, you want to go forward, you better really be sure and understand it and be confident. And certainly as a director, you kind of have to be the last person interested in the movie when everyone else is really bored and doesn't want to watch it again and is sick of it and exhausted by the whole process. And I have held myself to this kind of metric where if I'm not really sure I see the precise location on target that I want to hit, I'm not sure I can hit it, but I want to at least know exactly what I'm aiming for. But there's, as all of you have kind of mentioned, there's a spectacular array of characters in this universe, and also I think, they are ultimately like, I know that we sort of become like attached to them as exist in these particular forms, but I think of watching Zach's stuff and whatever he does, I find interesting and enjoyable. It's kind of manifestation of his work and his art. And with Chris, you see people's, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be wearing one face to tell an interesting story. There are certainly, a response to this gentleman's question, there are a lot of different ways to do that. And so I don't get too wrapped up and like fixated on that one thing, or at least that's the way I soothe myself. There were a number of them that I was kind of exploring, and the plans were to, make interesting, nuanced, complex characters, and in particular for the character you mentioned. And I didn't really, I kind of feel like either you do, I'm just going to get into my own preference here, but either you do like a kind of massive kind of one villain that is so formidable, you just can't imagine how it is that your protagonist is going to be able to overcome it, or you have to sort of really populate kind of the Injustice, like these big group villains where you get to have all these different characters. So I was at the time really trying to kind of hone in and focus on that character and get into depth and detail about it to make him seem as impressive as I felt like there was the opportunity to do. And that's the only detail I have.